Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you very much to Trevor and to Ammar for organizing such a great conference. So I've been allocated around 8 minutes to talk about ship finance. I think I just need 2 minutes after hearing Nawal's speech and the two keynote speakers. You've covered pretty much all I've wanted to say. So the theme today is the development of sustainable shipping and what are the strategies for success. Now, when I think about 10 years ago at the very first TMS ship finance conference held in Abu Dhabi at the Park Hyatt, we were discussing a very different narrative. I downloaded the agenda. It's still available in the archives on the TMS website. And we were discussing items such as whether India would be the next regional superpower. We were discussing how sanctions on Iran would affect regional trade. We were discussing how to promote the UAE as a leading maritime hub to rival the likes of Shanghai, the likes of Rotterdam, Hamburg. But look at the discussion points today. We're discussing alternative fuels, green shipping, decarbonization, and how to get to the 2050 net zero target. So shipping for me is also very interesting. I grew up in London, but my family are originally from Singapore. And in fact, my great-grandfather was a seafarer. He was in shipping. And that meant he was witness to a great transition during his time, the transition between coal or steam-powered ships to fuel oil. And I'm happy to say he was an early adopter in fuel oil, and he made some money. In fact, he made a fortune. And that fortune lasted for 2 generations. The bad bit is I'm the 3rd generation, so I can't really benefit from that. But nevertheless, the point is, during times of transition, there is opportunity, and that's why we're here today. Okay, the International Chamber of Shipping calls this the 4th propulsion revolution. From wind to coal, from coal to fuel oil, and from fuel oil to whichever fuel wins the next race, or there could be a number of different solutions. So in 2023, the MEPC 80 set out where we need to get to, and that's net zero by 2050. We've got regular checkpoints in 2030 and 2040, but we now know where we need to get to. So collectively, I can see that the dialogue has been very much decarbonization focused, from the public sector to the private sector, from ports and terminals and glass. We all are moving in the same direction, which is really, really exciting. We're moving at different speeds, but we are all moving in the same direction. And from what I can tell, from shipping's perspective, the journey has really accelerated due to 3 main reasons. Number 1 is the supply chain. If I'm a ship owner, everybody is demanding a decarbonization drive, from my charterers, from my suppliers, from my banks. There's pressure coming from everywhere, okay? So the likes of Amazon, the likes of IKEA, they have publicly come out and said, we want to be net zero by 2040. They have publicly come out and said, we want the vessels which transport our goods, our flat-packed furniture, to be net zero emitters in 2040. And they're really putting pressure on the owners to comply. Technology, we've discussed that on the panel today. It's a great enabler, all right? There is technology out there to help us to get to net zero, okay? And whether that is onboard carbon capture, whether that is scrubbers, whether that is more efficient propellers, or shaft generators, or hull coatings, or even air lubrication. The technology is there to help us to get to the destination. But compare and contrast that to other transportation industries, such as aviation. The design tolerances of aircraft are so tight that retrofitting technology would really mean an aircraft will need to be completely redesigned. So shipping, we can benefit from retrofitting and technology. And banks also are coming into the fray. All this technology needs to be financed. and banks are the main capital providers to our industry. So in 2019, the Poseidon Principles were formed. It was set up by 11 leading banks who collectively finance approximately 20% of the global shipping fleet. So out of every 5 vessels, they financed 1 vessel. Okay. Come 2025, we've now got 35 banks who are signatories to the Poseidon Principles. And the Poseidon Principles really is the world's first climate alignment program for shipping. And it allows the banks to measure, to collect, and to evaluate the carbon intensity of its shipping portfolio. Okay, so I'm a lawyer, I like long clauses, but I won't read this out because it's going to take some time. But I want to distill this Poseidon Principles covenant. It's in your loan agreements if you're dealing with a Poseidon Principle bank. But what it really says is that as a borrower, you agree to provide certain data to your lender, and that lender will keep it confidential, but it allows the lender to publish it in its annual sustainability reports. Okay, so that distilled down is the Poseidon Principles covenant. So in this region, none of the banks have signed up to the Poseidon Principles yet. The main banks that have signed up are mainly European and in Asia. The last couple of banks that have signed up are in Japan. So why should banks take notice in this region? Really, I think the regulators now are really pushing banks to evaluate credit when they look at onboarding new business. They're looking at banks to have decarbonization as one of the factors when they're looking at a new customer. What is their journey? What is their decarbonization curve? Why are they borrowing? What vessels are they financing? It's also important for owners to pay attention as well. First of all, the covenant itself is not really that onerous. You've already got a lot of information rights being given to the lender in any financing. When you write to your shareholders, when you write to your insurers, you have to give copies of the same correspondence to your lender. So I think in summary, I want to finish off by saying, look, even if you don't subscribe, that's fine, but I think there's enough collective action now, and I think we've all demonstrated it in the panel today, that if you don't subscribe, there's a real danger you will be left behind, all right? And there's a real danger that your business could be affected. And as one member said to me during breakfast today, look, it's fine to sit on the fence, it's fine to be reactive and see what others are doing, but it's actually more fun to be part of the solution. So I'll just finish there. Thank you very much for your patience.